Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. I am Kirsty and this is Stuck in the Mud. Thank you all for being here today. I really commend you if you are taking those first steps on your recovery journey with OCD and anxiety, because I know firsthand how hard it is. As always, if you're finding this content helpful, please remember to like the videos and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. So in today's video, I want to talk about the behavioural patterns that are keeping you stuck with OCD and anxiety. Whether we are really aware of it or not, there are often patterns in our behaviour that are keeping us stuck in the OCD and anxiety cycle. I really had to identify on my own personal healing journey what my actions and beliefs that I was still holding on to, that were keeping me from getting to full recovery. They were really hindering my progress along the way. And these are all examples that I want to talk about in today's video of the things that you might be doing which are really slowing down that progress with your recovery journey. So first off, and this is the big one, and this is something I think we often do a lot of the time without thinking about it, and it's something I did for many years before I really grasped what I was actually doing in my OCD, which was actually making it worse. So that would be engaging with your thoughts, the images that you get in the head, the sensations in the body, the feelings we experience, like guilt and shame, and the urges we often get, because we have a sense of urgency with OCD to fix it, to come to certainty over the situation, and we just can't leave it alone. And I know how hard that is. I really do understand, when we get those intrusive thoughts, those unwanted intrusive thoughts, we don't want them there. But our natural instinct with OCD is to work it out, come to some kind of conclusion, just get to the bottom of it so we can move on with our life. But as we often know with OCD, it doesn't work. We just end up, we're down that rabbit hole trying to figure everything out, problem solve, and it never ends. We don't get to the bottom of that hole. We just carry on and we go round and round in circles. And it's a really tough place to be, because all we want and all we crave is peace from this disorder. And the more we actually engage and involve ourselves with it, the further we are getting away from that. It's actually doing the opposite of what we think we're achieving by doing all of this engagement. And another one would be to seek reassurance. This is something that I used to do a lot. And it really is just, again, we're craving that reassurance that everything is okay, that we're being, we're just being ridiculous, we're overreacting over what we're thinking about. And we often will seek that reassurance from our family members, our loved ones, our friends, even professionals that we may be seeking help with for our OCD and anxiety. We'll also search the internet, and this is what I'm very guilty of in the past, is searching online for reassurance, because I think I often felt if I did it that way that, I'm kind of hiding away my compulsions, because I'm not doing it with my family members, and it's more secretive that I can go, right, well, I'll just look online and try and get some peace and certainty that this is okay, what I've been obsessing over. You'll just search anywhere to get some answers. But what I actually realized, and I'm not going to lie, I have those days when I fall back and I maybe engage more than I should with things when I'm searching for answers over things. And I often find I get like that when I'm tired, when I've been going through something overwhelming. in my life, we often fall back on those coping mechanisms, those safety-seeking behaviours. And I'm a lot quicker now to recognise when I'm going down that path, and I can kind of, reset, go, okay, I know what I was doing there. I'm getting involved with it. I need to leave it alone and carry on with what I was doing, because it's very easy to get sucked into it. We want to seek reassurance. We want to actually just feel some relief for some time, and we're just going to try and get it any way we can, and it does work. When we go to a loved one and maybe confess about what we're feeling, what we're thinking, and they will say something back to us. My husband, I used to tell him, don't get involved with me, don't reassure me, because it's not going to help me. I had to actually say that in the end. But like I said, then I went to the secretive methods like online and Google. But it is, that urge to do it is so intense sometimes when we just crave, some peace for a while. And like I said, it will work. You'll often feel a sense of release that, we've got this off our chest, and I can go about what I need to do now. But what you will find with that is it will pop up later, because that's how OCD and anxiety works. OCD will go, right, okay, this is obviously important, and I'm divulging all this stuff to people, so we'll take hold of that and we'll keep it there for another time, and it'll just bring it back at a later point, and often stronger, because we're making it important by discussing and divulging all these details. So our brain's going, okay, we'll save this for later, and maybe keep that tab open in the background. So you can see how that isn't actually helpful in the long run. It's a short-term fix, and it's one that I've had to abstain from. And we're not trying to push anything away here, we're just letting it be there unanswered. But it's not easy. It's quite difficult at first, and we have to practice that. And the more we practice abstaining from engaging with it, even when we're just seeking that bit of reassurance, we actually will help ourselves in the long run. Another thing is when we are using worry and overthinking, rumination as a problem solver. We have this belief that this will help us get better. We often, even if we don't realize it, we often believe that this is all going to help us, and actually come to some kind of conclusion and some certainty. We actually have developed a belief over some time that this actually does work. And we're addicting to fact-finding. We just want that ultimate certainty. So we often believe that these things are helpful for us, which in effect, they're really not. They're actually the opposite of that. They're actually keeping us stuck where we don't want to be. And we'll also have beliefs that we can't move forward unless we have all this figured out. And that can keep us held back for so much time. I know, for one, this was me for a long time. I thought, well, if I just get this one obsession solved, I can then move forward with my life, and I'll be good. This is great. I've kicked it to the curb. It's fine. I can move on. But it never happens. We will have this belief that this will make everything better and we'll have everything solved. And unfortunately, OCD does not work like that. We'll also find that you might still be engaging in compulsive behaviour and performing rituals, and they can be quite subtle ones. This is something that I found myself doing for quite a long time. We have that doubt, even the smallest amount of doubt there, and that, we think that just one more, whether it be checking, counting, whether we're delving into the past, we're looking into the future, trying to, again, we're problem solving, we're trying to just have it all figured out. And by doing these rituals, we're reinforcing the fact that, we're not safe. We're reinforcing that to our brain that, we're engaging in that ritual one more time, and our brain is on, it's taking note of this all the time. It's learning from our actions and our behaviors that this is what keeps me safe. And when we just keep engaging with it, it's learning all the time. And, we're just doing the exact opposite of what we should be doing. And to not engage in those rituals, whether that be a mental ritual or a physical ritual, I often used to touch things a certain number of times, or, I would count things a certain way. Checking is a big thing for me. And I do all the rumination, which rumination is a compulsive behaviour, because we don't often think of that side of things as being compulsive or a ritual, but rumination is thinking. We're getting involved in it. We can do something about that. We can disengage. We can let those thoughts just hang out with us, and we move forward with our day. It's not simple at first, we have to get used to not pushing those thoughts out. That is the last thing we need to do. We have to view it as you could view it as like a river with a leaf coming down the river and just floating on by. Our mind, it's the river. The leaf is a thought, and we can let that leaf just float on by. Or we can pick up that leaf, take it in our hand and grasp onto it. And that is often what we do with our thoughts. We will grasp onto it and we just give it so much importance. We reinforce the fact, this is an uncomfortable thought or an image or feeling, sensation, urge. We telling our brain all the time that this is important and I need to figure this out. I need to hang on to it. So we can do something about that. When we disengage, we can let that leaf float on by, and it's going to still be there. It's going to be there in the background. That leaf is still on the river, but we're not engaging with it in the same way. And it's, like I said, this is practice. There's a lot of consistency we have to, involve ourselves with, because it's not going to be a quick fix. This is something we practice over time, and you're going to find yourself tripping up and getting hooked back in, and then we have to disengage and carry on moving forward with our day. And you might have to do that multiple times at first, but eventually when our brain realizes that this isn't worth hanging on to, this isn't important, because obviously I'm not engaging with it, I've let that leaf float on by, and our brain will release it. It will release it on its own and it will fade away. The more we engage with it, it just grasps onto it. Our brain's hanging onto it, and just will hang onto it for dear life. This is vital. I need to keep this here. So that isn't comfortable, and this is what I want to talk about now, is not being able to tolerate that discomfort we feel when we don't engage with our thoughts, feelings, images, all the sensations, the urges. When we don't engage with them, that's going to feel really uncomfortable, because it's not natural for us to just let them be there. It's not natural for us to do that. We've always done what's come natural to us as an OCD sufferer, which is to try and figure it out. And that's going to feel wild at first. It's going to be like, what's going on here? Our brain's like, hold on a minute, wasn't this important? Do we not need to figure this out and come to some kind of certainty and conclusion? And it's going to feel weird at first that we're not doing that, but we're going to feel some rise in anxiety as well when we're not engaging with these thoughts, these unwanted intrusive thoughts. But when we actually do that time and time again, our brain is like, okay, this is just not important anymore. I don't need to figure this out. And uncertainty is difficult for everyone. Even if you don't have OCD, there's no certainty in this world. Every day there are risks and things that don't go to how we would want them to plan out, to play out in our lives. And Everybody feels that. But with an OCD sufferer like myself and whoever's watching this video, we struggle with that. This is hard. We really struggle to tolerate uncertainty in our life. But the more we can practice these things that I'm talking about in today's video, the easier and easier it gets. Like I said, not a quick fix, but it's worth doing to get your life back from OCD and anxiety. And you really should start to see reduction in your anxiety, and OCD might try and latch on another way. And this is where you might find that you'll get intrusive thoughts like, well, I'm not getting anxious over this anymore. Because once we don't engage with these thoughts, we'll probably notice that our anxiety has lessened quite a bit. So then our brain will be like, and our OCD will be like, well, hang on a minute, you're not feeling very anxious. So you must actually quite like these intrusive thoughts that are popping up in your head. That is just OCD. It's just trying another way, the backdoor spike, trying to get you hooked back in. And OCD will try any which way to do that. It will try to get your attention by any means necessary. And this is quite, a big one. It'll cast doubt, because it's a doubting disorder, over why you're not responding in the same way to these intrusive thoughts. You're not getting the same amount of anxiety. You may, like I said, you probably feel that lessen over time the more we abstain and disengage from all of these things. Like I said, we're not pushing any of these things out. That's the worst thing we can do for OCD and anxiety, letting us move through those feelings, letting us sit through that discomfort, the feeling of anxiety in the pit of your stomach when you're not engaging in that thought or the ritual. It's going to feel strange at first, but over time you'll feel that lessen, and this is when OCD will try and find ways to get your attention back. And like I said, it's going to go, well, okay, you obviously like these thoughts then. And that's just not true. It's not true. These intrusive, unwanted thoughts go, they're so far apart from who you are and your values. And the big reason we get so triggered by these things is because we value them so much. And this is why it's so difficult, because it's just finding that balance, where we're like, okay, I value all these things in my life, but this shouldn't be the way I'm living anymore, because I'm missing out, I'm losing out on life, because OCD is keeping everything, it's trying to keep everything under control. These safety-seeking behaviours are limiting my life. They're not actually making anything better. They're giving me so much, so much anxiety, so much suffering. And this is not where we should be. We should be living a full, happy life where we're not controlled by this monster that's just trying to keep us in a dark place of suffering and pain. So I really hope these points in today's video have helped you see these patterns of behaviour that you may not be aware of, the things that you may be doing that are keeping your OCD and anxiety going. So please let me know in the comments if this resonates with you today, and I hope to see you in the next video. And keep up the good work, because I know how hard all of this is and you're doing amazing. Thanks for watching.